Welcome back to another episode of Ultramorons. Me, your host, as usual, Lane, joined with Connor.
Yep, back at it again.
Back at it again for another episode. So, last episode we covered Legion and what Alpha Legion was doing, and them basically choosing to join Horus, not because they liked his plans, but because of the Cabal basically saying he needs to win in order for Chaos to die off. It was the thing called the Acuity. It was a big deal. But don't get me wrong, Alpha Legion is still kind of evil in a way because they did kill all the witnesses that were there of this decision. So the 670th Expedition Fleet was destroyed to keep the secret.
Yeah.
So these are just a bunch of people that were kind of like, we always talk about like expeditions. Horus's guys were called the 63rd Expedition, right? That's like 6319. Yeah. So the 63rd. So that's basically their entire fleet.
Okay.
So Alpha Legion kills everybody but Alpha Legion and some people that are on their side. Basically, there's no witnesses. So it's not like it's a clean, like, we're doing this for the good of humanity. It's more of like, all right, well, time to be a little nasty. So yes. So that was, and I don't know if I covered it in the last episode, but that was about just when Horus had become War Master, Alpha Legion was dealing with that. And then by the end, when the Acuity happens, it is the Istvaan 3 is happening. So we're right. So now we're going to pick up from Istvaan 3 and go from there. Some things we covered, other things we covered as well to kind of have a complete picture. Garrow left to go warn people that Horus is gone evil. He made it there in time, warned him. So now Rogodorn knows, the Emperor knows. Now the whole thing's opened up.
Right.
Horus knows that as well because he's trying to plan for the next move.
Got it.
Yeah. So we're kind of working from there. But I'm going to go a little bit away from Horus. I'm going to talk about Fulgrim for a lot of this, honestly, just because he's, in a weird way, he's kind of the main guy of this Isstvan V scene that I'm going to build up for you. So we talked about him making the hammer for Ferrus. Ferrus makes him a sword as friendship, the whole thing, the contest, right? We covered all that. And we covered the Laer blade, which is a sword he took from the snake people.
Yep.
But one thing I forgot to cover a little bit about the Laer blade is when he went there to go take it at the Laer temple, his first captain, Julius Caesarion, was there. And Julius, walking in, knew something was wrong with this place. He's like, this place is something about to give me the creeps. I don't like it. Fulgrim was like, oh, that sword looks so cool. And Julius was going to say, don't grab that. I think there's something wrong with it. But he heard a voice that said, let him take me, Julius. And then he was like frozen. It was so weird. You already see that influence right from the start of like that sword already kind of messing with Fulgrim, even before he even touches it.
Right.
So I just want to cover that as well. Also, what Julius Caesar is. I think we talked about him before, but he's kind of Fulgrim's one of his main guys. I mean, he's his first captain, right? Think of like Abaddon with Horus,
Right. Got it.
The demon in the Laer blade was basically doing this psychological game with Fulgrim, speaking to him, kind of getting him to do things he probably wouldn't have done, and making his entire legion more hedonistic. Like the sensations and beauties and all these things are getting to such a high point now where it's like it's almost too much. They started, like, one of the big things is now there's this apothecary named Fabius Bile, and we've talked about him before with the Emperor's Children and all that, but he is this kind of scientist, apothecary, mad scientist guy, and he is doing surgery to Emperor's children. He is an Emperor's children guy, but he's also doing surgery to them to like enhance them, make them better. Like I think one guy he puts in like an organ from the Laer into the Space Marine so he can like shout. I think it's Eidolon he does this too, so he can like shout, basically tear people apart with his voice, like the Laer could kind of do.
Okay.
Because Fabius actually brings up with Fulgrim, he says, I have an idea, we can use the Laer organs to amplify our guys. And Fulgrim's like, that almost sounds like heresy. You're saying the Emperor's plans are perfect? He's like, no, hold on, wait a minute. They are perfect, but what if they're more perfect? And he's like, you got a point. So he lets him do it. So it's not like he was doing it behind Fulgrim's back. Fulgrim was totally okay with it.
Okay.
They'll start doing drugs. These combat stims juicing up, looking like Bane out there. So they're getting they're going crazy.
Yeah.
So there's this guy, Ian, who is a Lord Commander of Fulgrim, and he could see things are getting a little funky. He's like, well, what are we doing? Like the surgery stuff, the drugs, they don't really, I'll just say the orgies, but they don't really have sex like that. Space Marines, they have no desire to. But other humans were on the ship. And he's like, this is not what we represent. I don't like this one bit. So he told Fulgrim, he says, I have concerns. And Fulgrim says, tell me your concerns. So he tells him. He says, the blade, ever since you grabbed that blade, things are getting weird around here. And Fulgrim was like, fair enough. I'll think about it. So he's like, okay, that's all I needed to say then. So, but so the blade makes Fulgrim want a painting of himself. And now there's this woman named Serena D'Angelos. So we talked about remembrancers before, they're just propagandists. But she was an artist, so she would do a lot of these paintings. So a lot of times when you see like 40K paintings in art, it's always sometimes it's like black and white and it looks like a sketch. Remembrancers paint. They like make art of the people and of what they look like in these great moments, right? So she was an artist and she was painting this portrait of Fulgrim. And I have a picture of it here. That's usually what it looked like.
Okay.
And it's kind of a weird looking painting, right? It like looks rotten in a way.
Right.
She paints this portrait, and Fulgrim looks at it. He's like, "I really like this painting. Something about it like, really speaks to me. He's keep working on it, you know." And after a certain point, the painting starts speaking to Fulgrim, like Green Goblin mask style, using the same voice from the sword. So it's in a way he's getting all messed with, right?
Yeah.
So it's basically telling him like you should do this or you should do that. Like, oh, maybe we should do this, you know? And Fulgrim is trying to like, no, like that's wrong. We can't do this. I mean, literally Green Goblin, right?
Yeah.
No, I'm a good person now. And at a certain point, the painting is like he can't argue with it anymore. It's like it's finding just the right points to get him to see what it's trying to make him see. So at a certain point, Vespasian goes up to him and says, like, this painting is wrong too. Like everything is wrong. And the painting says to him, he harbors nothing. He is worthless. Kill him. And Fulgrim's like, yeah, you got it. So he goes to Vespasian when Vespasian is in his quarters, and he goes behind him, and Vespasian's there, and he basically knows something is wrong automatically. He just walks in, and we can feel it. He's like what are you doing? You know? And he goes, I just want to talk. I just want to talk. You've been telling me a lot of stuff recently, and I want to talk to you about it. And he's like, okay. And now Vespasian is a space marine. He's not a remembrancer. But he goes behind him, and he has a Laer blade, and he's basically grabs him on his neck from behind. I don't know how to say that. It sounded crazy. But like
By the back of the neck.
the nape of the neck. There we go. Like so he grabs him behind the neck, and then Vespasian's like, wait, hold on, what are you doing? And he's like, don't do this. And he's like, it's too late now. And he basically stabs him through the back of the neck with the sword. And he says to him, energy is an eternal delight, and he who desires but acts not breeds pestilence. Which is funny that says pestilence, because that's Ferrus' whole thing. So he kills Vespasian because Vespasian was the only like sane person left in the entire thing. So there goes that, right?
Yeah.
Another person, another human, remembrancer, man, that word is difficult. I'm just going to say propagandist. That word be killing me. He was a sculptor named Ostian Delafor, and he was one of the best artists in the entire crusade. And that's why he's with Emperor's Children, because he's like, I want him. He makes really good sculptures. So he gets hired as well. And he's actually a decent guy. You see a lot of his point of view in the book Fulgrim, and kind of like all this degradation around him and how he kind of is like noticing, he's like, this feels wrong. Like, what is going, like, everybody's acting weird around here. And he's like, I'm just going to do my work and ignore it because I just don't want to get involved. And I think if I do, something bad's probably going to happen to me. So maybe I'll just keep doing my sculptures. So he does. He spends months making this statue of the emperor from marble. And because he's just like, at the end of the day, the emperor's my guy. So if I make the statue of the emperor, then it will prove that. Basically a little act of resistance in a way. He's like, I don't worship none of what you guys are doing. Emperor's my guy. Right. So I'm going to now jump to another guy named Solomon Demeter. And Solomon Demeter is another captain of the second company. And he was on Istvaan V. He recognized the betrayal the moment Tarvitz warned him. And he fought alongside loyalists. But Demeter died there on Istvaan V, killed by Lucius. And we haven't really talked about Lucius much, but Lucius is a very good swordsman. He's not the best. He likes to say he's the best, but he's not the best. Loken meets him at one point, and he's very mad about it. But, and I'm kind of skipping over this because it's actually a big deal because Lucius they thought was loyalist too, but he actually wasn't, and he basically betrayed the loyalists on Istvaan V in order to get back off the planet. Video because we never released it, but where we talked about it.
Right.
So basically, Lucius is this really rotten guy now, doing whatever it takes to get what he wants. Type guy. So Demeter was one of the pure Emperor Soldier guys. So it gets to a point where there is nobody left that can speak reason to Fulgrim. So Ostian is building sculpts his statue of the Emperor, and Fulgrim visits him. and he is wearing like war paint and wearing this golden armor, and he looks weird. He looks like a clown. Not like a clown, but he just looks like just at Burning Man. You know what I mean? Like he's got earrings all over his ears. He's got like piercings in his nose, or I don't know. It's like he's all crazy looking all of a sudden.
Yeah, he's got his Coachella fit on.
He's got like his shirt is like deep V, chest hair sticking out, covered in paint on his face. Has been there for like a week. He just looks nuts.
Okay.
Austin sees this and he's like, "Wait, what is happening? Like you look weird now." And he's like, I feel like we haven't talked in forever. We should talk all the time. And he sees the statue of the Emperor and he keeps looking at it and he's like, it's really good. Austin, you're really good. And Austin is like, yeah, thanks. And he's like, yeah, it's really good, actually. It's like really good. He's like, you notice something right here? He looks at it, looking closely at the statue, and Fulgrim goes behind the statue and stabs through the statue with a sword and kills him. Impales him on the statue.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, it stabs him with the Laer blade through the statue, through Ostian. And just kept it all the way through. So he's stuck to the statue now. And he's like, that's what was missing. So, and he basically says, quote, is now it's perfect. In the Emperor's Hold, all the honest people are dead now. Oh, I kind of forgot to tell you what happens to Serena D'Angelos. So she gets weird too. Like this painting that I have pulled up is she makes it, she's trying to paint it at first and she just can't quite get it right. She's missing something. I don't know what it is, but it's missing something. I think at some point she gets so frustrated, she like squeezes this like painter's knife thing, like those little like metal scraping things. You see like Bob Ross used.
Yeah.
She's like squeezing it, like cuts her hand, and then she wipes the blood off on the thing, and she's like, "Oh, that's what it is. I need like a real red." So she keeps cutting herself, get the blood over the thing, and then she's like using like bodily fluids for different stuff. Like it becomes a real. That's why the painter looks so nasty. It's because like it's made out of like real visceral things.
Okay.
And then she ends up, I think she ends up killing herself, but I don't remember. I just read the book too. But anyways,
So she's kind of fully sipping the Kool-Aid kind of on this.
Oh yeah, I mean, she couldn't. But in the book, it's so interesting too because nobody even interacts with her. She doesn't hear any demons talk to her. Who doesn't go into her ear and say, "Oh, you have to do this, this, and this." He just says, "Make me a painting. I want to see a painting of myself." She's okay, but it's just that the emanation from just being around all those types of people, it just creeps. Like that's how demons work, and I think that's what I really like about the book Fulgrim is that you see like the demons working in such subtle ways where it's like it's not just like a demon goes up and he goes, "Hey, now you're evil." It's more of like you just being around these presences will slowly make you like do things you probably wouldn't do. Like so at one point she kills a guy. Like she lures this because she runs out of blood. She can't keep cutting herself because she's like, I'm gonna die. So she lures a guy in there. She's like, oh, I'll have a little time with you, and then she like stabs him to death, and they use his blood to do the painting, and then she like locks him in this barrel because she's also really close with Ostian, and Ostian keeps seeing her degrade, and eventually he doesn't see her for like months, and he goes to see her, and she's like unclean, her hair's all crazy. She looks like a little golem in her room, and she's like, "Don't come in here." And he's like, "I just want to talk. I haven't seen you in so long. What's going? Like, you don't look well." And she's like, "I don't go away." And then he's like walking around the room looking around, and she like picks up a knife because she's like, "I'm gonna have to kill him if he opens that barrel." And she's like, "It's just like painting stuff." He's like, "It's kind of heavy for painting stuff." And she goes, "Just leave, just leave." And he's like, "Yeah, okay, whatever you say." And then he leaves, and she's like, "Oh goodness, didn't have to kill him." Ends up getting killed by Fulgrim anyways. But there's not good scenes like there in that book.
It's kind of a more. It can be kind of a slow corruption. It's not just like Horus, where it's like, boom, you're evil man.
It's it's also the fault of, the first 3 Horus Heresy books are about Horus. And a lot of people feel like that turn was so rapid and so like really just like you're the number one guy turns evil that quickly. It's like, yeah, well, we didn't know we are gonna make 54 books. You know what I mean? Like we probably would have given more time if we knew that. So when you have more time, then you can kind of make it kind of go into a more thought out way.
Right.
So yeah. We also covered Eldrad Uthran's warning on Tarsus, when Fulgrim was fighting the Elder there, and they're like, oh, he's already corrupted. And then also when he goes to confront Ferrus, and Ferrus is like, I'm not joining Horus, you're out of your mind. He says, well, too bad. They fight, and then he breaks the Fireblade. It's a whole thing, right? We already covered all that.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I said, but Fulgrim leaves with Forgebreaker. He steals the hammer back.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a little important. Fulgrim walks out of there with the Forgebreaker, and Ferrus is like knocked out because of the explosion from the Fireblade. And Fulgrim's guys, I think they're called Phoenix Warriors, kill the Morlocks. That's what they were called. The special forces kind of the Iron Hands are called Morlocks. And his Phoenix Knights like decapitated a bunch of them at the command. I think it's Eidolon. It might be Eidolon. But to me, there was like now and then it. So Iron Hands are definitely debuilt. Also, they fire at the Iron Hand ship to really cripple them. So Iron Hands are definitely kind of like they're a little weakened at this point, a little crippled. So now we finally get into the meat of the story here. It's some stuff that we should have covered earlier. But so Horus knew that the Emperor's going to respond, and that he could assume that the Loyalist legions were already going to get sent here to bring him back, to kill him or whatever. So he says, well, all right, I need to get my forces together. So he brings in the Sons of Horus, World Eaters, Death Guard, and Emperor's Children on Isstvan V, which is like a dead planet. And all it is just like a giant ball of black deserts and ash. Like, it's just nothing. There's nothing there. But he sent word to Loyalist forces that he needs help with a military operation. And 3 legions respond, because those 3 legions didn't know that Horus had gone bad yet.
Okay.
So,
who are those?
So it's Raven Guard, Salamanders, and Raven Guard, Salamanders.
Is it Space Wolves? I know we talked about that yesterday.
No, it's not Space Wolves. I don't know what really what Space Wolves are doing right now. Wait, we'll get to it, I'm sure, as I read along here. So, yes, 3 didn't know yet and get sent there. It's not the Blood Angels, because one of them are doing something else. So, yes. So, they all meet on Isstvan V, the Loyalist forces and the Heretical forces, and they're fighting, and Ferrus Manus is leading this charge because he's so mad at this point. He's like, he's embarrassed me, we look stupid, and people are telling him, Ferrus, like, you have to relax. You can't just jump in and start fighting. You're gonna die. And he's like, you don't know what you're talking about. I'm like so dangerous right now. Like, I'm so angry and so powerful. I have hands made of metal. You think like these guys are gonna stop me? So he just jumps in there like we gotta go in now. We can't wait. They're like, we need to wait till more backup guys. Like, we're not waiting. Let's go. Leroy Jenkins. So basically, right? So Vulcan's there. Here's a picture of like Vulcan doing his thing, burning up some guys. Corax is doing his thing, cutting guys up. Corax is quiet. He's a very keeps to himself type of guy. Kind of like the Lion, but in a different way. Because Raven Guard are very sneaky, stealthy. Don't need to say something if I don't need to type thing.
Right.
Now, whereas the Lion is just, it's more of a pride thing. Like, I don't need to tell you guys what I'm doing because I know what I'm doing is right. So don't try to tell me. Yes. Corvus is there, Vulcan is there, and they're killing, and they're doing what they need to do. And they're fighting in this region called the Urgal Depression. And the Urgal Depression is just basically a giant desert, and it has these kind of different landforms, like valleys and hills, and all different tactical positions. So this is their Normandy, this is where they're fighting. Yeah. So the first wave shows up, Iron Hands, and he is there, Ferrus is like, I'm ready to go, and Corax is just standing there quietly, and Vulcan is there. Okay, so the 3 legions there are Iron Hands, Raven Guard, and Salamanders, who are there first.
Okay.
So they knew, all right, so actually they knew that Horus had betrayed them because Iron Hands told them. Yeah, I don't know why I said they didn't know. They did know. Everybody knows at this point what's going on. But what I meant was nobody knows at this point who's on whose side.
Okay.
So that's yeah. I meant that instead of saying that
they don't know Horus is bad. They just don't know what legion
exactly
where.
Yeah. Now they know obviously World Eaters, Emperor's Children, basically everybody who's at Istvaan V, they know. They don't. Everybody, if you're not Istvaan, I don't know what you're doing. So that's also a lot of mistrust there. Obviously, Imperial Fists know because that's Roll the Dorn's guys, so they know what's going on. I'll explain. But yes, so that's what I meant. Ferrus drops down, like I said. He said, "No more waiting. Let's run in there." And about 30,000 of Horus's forces were waiting at the Urgal Depression. They had built basically about a week of preparation. He had the Titans with him. It was like he was ready to go. Horus had his all guys ready. He's like, I think I can handle this. I know what I'm doing. And then they started the orbital bombardment, just dropping, blowing it up. Artillery is Normandy, except if the artillery guys at Normandy actually hit the right spot and not like 2 miles inland. So the Loyalists were hammering the traitor positions, blowing them up, and Ferrus Manus is running in there with his Morlocks because he has still some left, but not many. Yeah. And Ferrus Manus has this sword, and there's this guy named Gabriel Santar who is one of the Morlocks, and he's like, what a weird sword. I don't think I've ever seen him use that sword before. So, but it's Fireblade. He remade it on the ship while he was waiting. He's taking it to battle with him instead of Forge Breaker, which is his usual hammer. Right. Like you see in like this picture here, right? Like that is the usual hammer he's got. So at a certain point, you have 60,000 Astartes on the field at this point. It's this huge battle. And the Loyalists had about 40,000 in the first wave, and they were beating the Traitors back because, like I said, the Traitors only had 30. So that's a difference of almost double. So it's like they're pushing them back and they're killing them, and it's a whole thing. And Horus is watching, and he's just watching them win. And they're like, Horus, I think we're losing. He says, don't worry about it. Don't worry. It's all handled. So then a flare shot goes up in the air in the middle of this fortress. And it lights up the battlefield. A moment of stillness. Like, what was that? What's going on? Then you see the 4 legions. So at this point, 4 more legions had showed up. It was Alpha Legion. I can't remember. I'm so bad with the legion names. Alpha Legion, I know that for sure. I don't think it was Word Bearers. I think Word Bearers were doing something else. But it's 4 legions that they thought were loyalists that weren't.
Okay.
And they end up betraying them. So they start shooting at their own guys. And now at this point, the loyalists are cut off. They're getting attacked at both angles by traitors and newly traitors. And that flare shot was basically the signal to betray them.
Okay.
So, Iron Warriors were there, which is Perturaba's guys. Fulgrim is watching as well with Horus. And he's laughing as he sees like the terror on Ferrus's face that they're getting betrayed. He says, oh man, incredible. They have no idea. What idiots. What fools. And Salamanders and Raven Guard is getting torn up at this point because they're like leading the charge here with the Iron Hands as well.
Right.
It's just volley after volley, missiles and heavy weapons. It's a massacre. That's why it's called the Drop Site Massacre. So then the Iron Warriors are moving into cutting off retreat. So now they can't leave. So they're just basically this giant circle is enclosing in around them.
Right.
It's like Fortnite with the storm. So they're getting trapped in there. They're getting murdered. And Titans are just walking through to stomp on people, shooting these big blasts. It's a real mess.
Mm-hmm.
So Ferrus is watching, and he sees over where Corax is, he sees a fire just cover Corax's position.
Mm-hmm.
So he thinks Corax might have died. And then he sees a titanic mushroom explosion, like a nuke basically going off in the distance where Vulcan was. And he's like, oh no, Vulcan just died. And he's just fighting now with his Iron Hands around him, and they're getting outnumbered, he's getting torn up, and they're surrounding him. It's Sons of Horus, World Eaters, and Death Guard is closing in on them. But then he sees Corax flies away. He's like, all right, Corax didn't die, good. And he's fighting, basically flying away and fighting, because that's what the Raven Guard do. They're all about movement and mobility.
Right.
So he's good. He's flying away, and eventually found a Thunderhawk, which is a transport. They found one and they escaped.
Mm-hmm.
But they're carrying basically Corax with them. He's like all beat up and injured. Like he looks like he's about to die. So that you can see this like carrying away.
Mm-hmm.
So at this point, it's just Ferrus Manus is there. He assumes Vulcan is dead. He saw Corax leave, and he tries to break out. But then Night Lords are there. No, that's the other one. Night Lords and Alpha Legion are there too, are Vulcan's position. And he's like, I can't get to him. I'm now. He's like, either he's dead, I have no idea now. So Angron shows up, and it's just getting real nasty. When Angron shows up, it's now just getting murdered. And Mortarion is there too with his scythe, just cutting through all these guys. It's bad. Bad news. Eidolon and Lucius are there. And I forgot to bring this up, but I guess I can say it now. So they start working with sonic weapons as well. Because like I said, the voice thing with like Eidolon has this voice thing. But and I kind of forgot to cover it, but there's a whole thing called the Meraviglia. And the Meraviglia was this event that Fulgrim had on his ship, I think right before this, where there was this woman named, I can't remember her name. She's like an opera singer. Mm-hmm. And she's like the best in the universe. She's kind of like, you ever seen Fifth Element? Oh, okay. Well, there's a blue lady in there, she's an opera singer, and she's like an alien. But anyways, it's kind of like that. But she's not an alien, she's a regular human. But she has blue hair. I can't remember her name, it's so annoying. But she puts on this performance called the Meraviglia, which is this masterpiece performance. So Fulgrim takes all of his guys to go watch it at the theater that's built into their spaceship. It's spaceships are as big as you want them to be. Yeah. I mean, they're huge. I think they're like the size of like cities, so it's not unreasonable. They take him to go watch this play, and at a certain point, she is like singing so powerfully, and these people playing this music so loudly that like demons start appearing. These like Slanesh demonettes appear, and they start killing everybody, and it becomes like music orgy of violence and just basically almost a really small version of what happened to the Eldar. Like it becomes this like murder fest. Like Space Marines are just bashing humans to death. Humans are like tearing each other apart, and this lady just can't stop singing. She's like basically at this point forced to sing like some of these demons, and there's these instruments there that are playing that can like shoot music out as like a weapon, like a sonic weapon. And Fulgrim is like, that's awesome. Hey, Fabius Bile, I need more of those guys. So then they make something called the Noise Marines. And I think I've shown you Noise Marines before. They're very cool.
Yes.
They basically just use sound to kill people. So the Noise Marines are here too on Istvaan V fighting. And it's just the other Traitor legions see these guys and they're like, okay, Fulgrim's doing something real weird. I don't want to do that. what we're doing now is fine, but that weird stuff, I'm not doing that. So Fulgrim is definitely kind of going off the rails in his own way.
Yeah.
So Mortarian's killing guys. Idol and Lucius is there killing people with their noise marines, and they're loving it. And Fulgrim is like, I could go do something. I'll be right back, Horus. Horus says, whatever you need to do. So Ferrus Manus is down there, basically knowing like, oh, it's over for me. But I ain't gonna stop fighting now. And he sees Fulgrim moving into the battlefield. He says, that's it. I'm gonna go kill him right now. And his guys are telling him, wait, what are you doing? Like, you can't just go charge him. He says, fine. So he runs through like traitor lines, killing these like regular traitors, and he gets his way to Fulgrim. And he has Fireblade. Fulgrim has the Laer blade.
Yeah.
So they begin to fight. And, well, before they fight, Fulgrim says, are you going to join us or not? If not, you are going to die here. And Ferrus Manus says, I think you already know the answer. Like, no more talking. Now we're just fighting.
Right.
So he basically, look, I'll go into it more. So basically, he says, I'll give you one more chance. Horus wants me to kill you. But if you join us, I'll speak for you to let it slide. But he says, but then Ferrus says, we're not doing all that.
Yeah.
But then Fulgrim notices that he has the fireblading. He says, you remade the sword. And Ferrus Manus says, only to see you dead by a weapon forged by my own hand. So Ferrus at this point, I mean, he's all in.
Yeah. It's personal.
It's extremely personal. So he says, maybe the reason he doesn't join him says, maybe not, traitor, but only dishonor holds any terror for me. The Emperor's loyal warriors will not surrender to you, not now, not ever. You will have to kill every last one of us. The man is too loyal. So they're fighting each other, clashes, and all these different things. And it actually says in the book at one point, like, all the guys fighting around them know better than to get involved. They're like, let them duke it out. And like they're like doing this, like hitting each other so hard, like causing these sonic booms. Like, it's this real anime type fight.
Yeah.
And they're hitting each other, though. It's not like they keep blocking. So at one point, Ferrus cuts the shoulder guard from Fulgrim's armor. Fulgrim hits Forge Breaker into his skull, gives him a nice concussion. And at one point, they're both so tired from fighting, they're just sitting there kneeling. Felt something like he feels his mind clear a little bit. And he says, you're my brother, my friend. And then Ferrus says, you have long since lost the right to call me friend. So Ferrus stands up, gets to his feet, and lifts Fireblade up to basically kill Fulgrim. He has his blade up, and Fulgrim hand leaps, goes right to his waist, and grabs the Laer blade, blocks Fireblade. And Ferrus presses down and like close to his face. Like, he can feel the heat, like burning his eyebrows off. It's like that close. And then at one point, like right before that blade makes contact, the amethyst stone Laer blade lit its purple light, and this much swelled around Fulgrim, and the demon demanded from him, like, let me take control now. And Fulgrim said, okay, help me. But then he realized he has like no control of his body at the moment. Like, all of a sudden he feels himself pushing the Fireblade back. He's pushing it back towards Ferrus Manus. And Fulgrim's like, no, this isn't right. Like, it's not what I want. I just wanted to not die. And then, but he can't release it. He's too locked in. And he can feel this like super strength going through him. And he gets to his feet and he moves so quickly that it basically just cuts through Ferrus Manus. Ferrus Manus dies. Obviously, his head's gone. And Fulgrim just follows his knees and goes, what have I done? Throne, save me. What have I done? Because he's like, I didn't want to do that, you know? And that's kind of where this picture comes from, right? Is right afterwards, he's holding Ferrus Manus' head, and he's sitting there, and he's like so beat up by it. And he's like, this is not like, this is exactly not what I wanted. Which is kind of ironic, because like, you were literally building up to this since you got that stupid sword. But I mean, whatever, right?
Yeah.
He's like so distraught. He's like, I'm gonna kill myself. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna kill myself because that's the only way that I can stop this feeling. The demon says, hold on, wait a minute. What if you just let me take control? Just for a little bit. You'll still be in your body, but I can just kind of take over for a little bit while you kind of deal with what you need to deal with. Instead of killing yourself. Does that sound like a deal? And he says, yeah, I guess, whatever. And then he lets the demon take control, and that's kind of that picture's like that change now. So at this point, Fulgrim's dead.
Okay.
The Fulgrim that has continued on is no longer the same Fulgrim that felt bad for killing Ferrus Manus. Which I'll get into a second here what that means.
Okay.
So he picks up Fireblade, and yeah, basically to kill himself with it. And then the quote here is, one moment Fulgrim was a Primarch, one of the Emperor's children. The next, he was a thing of chaos. So, yeah, it's quick. It's
Can't fully go on.
Yep. Trapped in his own mind. So I'll pause there though. Like, I'll kind of give you a lot. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, It is a lot. It does feel like it's been building up to that, right? I kind of already knew that Ferrus dies when they first fought it, where they broke the fire blade. The first time I was like, "Oh, is this it?" And I was like, "Oh, not quite." I was like, "Okay." It was kind of hinting towards that, and then this is kind of a conclusion of that.
Right. Because it's interesting too that like Fulgrim was going to die.
Yeah,
Ferrus was supposed to kill him, but then the demon took control, right?
yeah.
So it's interesting there too.
It's interesting that it's kind of the thing that kind of puts him over the edge. Like, okay, now Fulgrim is basically gone, right? Like,
It's basically two Primarchs has died.
yeah,
One literally and one psychically.
yeah,
So after this happens, Istvaan V wraps up. And obviously the traitors win. I mean, they kill so many of them. Ferrus is dead. Vulcan, probably dead. We don't know.
who knows?
Corax luckily escaped. But, it was basically 3 versus 7. It was bad news.
Right.
So Fulgrim goes back to Horus and he has this box. And he goes to him with this box and he takes out the head and he's like, I did it. I killed him. And then Horus is like, good. I'm happy to see that you made that happen. But then he also notices the head is missing both of his eyes.
Mm.
Some of the skull is showing, and there's like chew marks on it. And Horus is like that was your like what that was your brother. Like, why is it so like desecrated? Like that was, and also that was my brother too. Like, I told you to kill him, not to do whatever you just like did to him like that.
Yeah.
And he kind of a little So his eyes are plucked out, his jaw is hanging open, and like his like tongue is all like it's nasty.
Mm.
But Horus kind of keeps it inside. He's like, you're okay. And Fulgrim has a big smile on his face. He's like, are you happy now? Yes, but don't. I guess he just tosses the head at him. That rolls at his feet. And Horus is like, oh, you need to act a little better than that because I'm not going to have you in here acting all crazy. But he like feels something from Fulgrim that isn't Fulgrim. He can tell this because obviously at this point he's very familiar with chaos. Horus is.
Right.
So he knows that something is going on there. Something that he saw with Erebus, right? That type of presence. And he says, Fulgrim, explain yourself. And then Fulgrim says, with the greatest respect, mighty Horus, you do not address Fulgrim anymore. And he's like staring at this thing. And he basically knows like, oh, it's like a demon or something has taken over Fulgrim. And the book kind of ends there. But Horus does say, after Fulgrim leaves, this demon Fulgrim, he basically says, you can keep calling me Fulgrim if that's easier for you, because like my name you wouldn't be able to pronounce type thing.
Okay.
Before I die, before this crusade is over, I'll figure out a way to fix that. Because it's like Horus still, he gets still his brother at the end of the day. He doesn't want him like demon possessed, but at the same time, he's like, but right now, if you being a demon helps me on my crusade, on my rebellion, then I'll be like that. But once this is over, I'll fix that. All I have here, let's see, how long is that one? Actually, wasn't as long as I thought we would go for. But do you have any questions?
I mean, I will say just thinking about kind of how that wrapped up. It's interesting that Horus still kind of has like his standards in a way. I don't know if that's the way to put it, but like even with him being kind of on the side of chaos and all that, like being aligned with them, like even just seeing like kind of what a demon that's like, oh,
well, because
about that.
What's interesting about it too is Horus is chaos aligned, but he's not really chaos yet. Like he hasn't. He knows of the gods, he knows of chaos, but he's not like taking power from the gods yet.
Okay.
He mostly has that done through like sorcery and like Erebus and stuff like that.
Okay.
Whereas Fulgrim is like, no, that's a demon possessed Primarch. That's a demon Primarch, and he's like, oh, I want to avoid that. So like Fulgrim is at this point, he's already completed the quest, right? His story's over at this point. Like, everything beyond this is the demon Fulgrim, right?
Yeah.
So it's anything with Ferrus Manus too. Ferrus Manus at this point, he's dead and he's gone, right?
Yeah.
His story's over. But yeah, so Horus definitely has standards because he still wants to keep his Imperium. It's not any different than the regular Imperium. It's just without the Emperor leading it.
Okay.
So that's why when he like throws a head at him, it's all like mangled. He's like, "What is this? Like that's not how we do things around here." You know?
Okay. Yeah. So there kind of is a difference between the kind of Chaos Legion, where there's the Traitor Legions, and then there's also ones that kind of go straight to Chaos, or do they kind of all?
No, yeah, you're right. There's definitely some that are traitor in a way of we just don't like the Emperor and we need to replace him, and there's some that are like Emperor's children at this point that are like, oh no, we love doing demon stuff. So like the warp powers kind of get into them. It's like Alpha Legion are not chaos at all.
Okay.
But they are heretical.
Right.
Like they don't go with any chaos. They don't use chaos powers. I mean, they have psychers, but like they're
not like using Nurgle powers or whatever.
Yeah, they're very same thing with like the Night Lords. The Night Lords are they're evil in a classically evil way. It's like skinning people. You know what I mean? There's evil Batman.
Yeah.
So it's like that. It's not like yeah, we're like Emperor's children, and we're gonna get into some later on that are just like, oh, you're just like just totally demons now in a way. Like word bearers are starting to get there a little bit with like they're doing stuff in the Eye of Terror and all that stuff we covered in that previous episode.
So I guess is this kind of the first instance of like a fire market and kind of that legion going full, I guess, demon?
Yes, yeah, basically because word bearers aren't quite demons yet, and they really never really become demons in a way. They're chaos undivided, which means like they use power from the warp to make themselves demonic, but they're not demons. If that makes sense. Whereas Noise Marine, like ever sort of the Noise Marines and I mean, when she's performing the Meraviglia and these demonesses appear, like, oh, now that is demons. You know what I'm saying? Like now we're just dealing with the actual warp entities. It's kind of like when going way back with Xavier Jubal in Samus.
Yeah.
Like that was a demon possessed. That's like the first time you ever really see a chaos possessed Space Marine. So, and now with the Emperor's Children of Doom are getting pretty close to that now. Definitely the closest out of the demon possessed. Now you could argue word bearers with their thing, I forgot what it was called, but they had like their special group that went in there, got possessed. But theirs is like a weird, different thing. They're not possessed, like a venom symbiote type thing, where it's like they can let the demon out and they can also kind of let it back in, so they have more control over it. Whereas Fulgrim now is totally demon possessed.
Okay.
He hasn't done the transformation yet, which we'll see later. But yeah, he's definitely the first of like that real, like, oh, this is what happens when you go full tilt into that demon stuff.
And so then I think we mentioned this earlier. Everybody everybody knows that Horus is against the Emperor, but now after Istvaan V, does everybody know kind of where
Still don't.
everybody stands, or is it still kind of?
So yeah, people still don't like. Everybody can assume the Ultramarines are loyal. Everybody can assume Imperial Fists are loyal because of just the proximity to the Emperor and what they do around the Emperor is like, okay, fair enough. Same thing with the Space Wolves.
Okay.
But some that are more hard are like the White Scars. Those are kind of tricky, or like Thousand Suns, which we're getting to Thousand Suns a little later. But like when some people are kind of more just they could go either way, and maybe we have to keep an eye on it. And also sometimes in your own legions you might have people that could break off and join this thing in their own way, you know?
Right.
So it's definitely more obvious because you have, I think at this point, Night Lords are on Horus' side, Emperor's Children, Sons of Horus, Alpha Legion, Iron Warriors. Who else? Death Guard, World Eaters.
Are word bearers like?
Yeah, so he has 8 legions on his side out of, I guess, technically 18. So it's definitely not looking good for the Loyalists right now, especially because Iron Warriors is basically out of the picture. Ferrus is dead, Iron Warriors, so they're gone. So now you have 17 left. You have Ultramarines, which you can assume are loyal. Imperial Fists, same thing. Salamanders, you know, are loyal. Raven Guard, you know, are loyal because they're Istvaan V. But the ones you don't know about, White Scars, Blood Angels, you could probably assume, but same thing with them. Space Wolves, maybe. Thousand Suns, we're still not sure about. And then, I don't know, whoever else there is. So it's definitely Horus at this point has the upper hand.
Okay.
Because, I mean, they just lost a whole legion, basically, with the Iron Hand.
Right.
So that's a big hit, especially for the Emperor. Now, right now, the Emperor really can't do much anyways because he's doing something on Earth. Now, like, if the Emperor was here, I mean, he could just sort this out right away, but the problem is he can't. He's busy with something else.
Right. Do we get insight into what he's doing?
Still a secret. Okay. Now, there's some reference to the Webroid Project, or the Special Terran Project, as they call it, but they don't really know what that means. They just know it's a special project that he needs to go take care of. That's why basically he made Horus become War Master, right, originally. Right. Because this, I mean, maybe a few years. So it's like,
it's going pretty quick.
It's going fast. It's not like it's taking like, oh, it's a 100-year war. It's like, no, like Istvaan 3 happens and like a week later Istvaan 5 happens. You know, and it's like Garrow just got to Earth. And the Emperor knows what Istvaan 3, but the Emperor doesn't know what Istvaan 5 yet.
Right.
So it's like information's also getting tricky too, because like I said before, information is tricky to get around because one, most of us use Sykes to do it. And actually, Horus has that advantage too, because he can use, and there's a part in one of the books where he basically has this person like chained up and he speaks through them like a walkie-talkie to transmit messages to another person, like another part of the galaxy, through psychic powers. Now it's like super bad. It kills the person usually, or it could cause demons. It's a lot of warp magics that you shouldn't get involved with. Right. Now, if you're a loyalist, you're not doing that. That's bad news. You shouldn't be doing that. Emperor's going to kill you, but you can get in big trouble. Yeah. So how are we going to send messages? I don't know, the old-fashioned way. Microphones and comms and all that. But it's like, we have to be close enough to do that. So Horus has that edge to it. He can use magic as much as he wants. He can use whatever method he seems necessary, right? So it's not looking good for the Loyalists right now. We're definitely at a disadvantage here. But yeah.
So Vulcan is still kind of
We don't know.
unknown.
It could be, based on what we know, he could be dead as well. I mean, Mushroom Cloud went up, and then he got surrounded by a bunch of war leaders or Death Guard surrounding his position. So either he's dead or he's missing.
Ran.
The only person we know that got away was Corax.
Yes.
He's the only person that we know that physically got on the ship and escaped with his guys because he lost a lot of guys there.
Right.
So, because they're already a pretty small legion as it was, and now this, forget it.
Yeah.
So, if that's all, we'll end the episode there. And if you guys like this one, do all the things, like it, subscribe, comment for engagement. Also, if I made any mistakes in the lore, correct me in the comments, because there's a lot of names, a lot of stuff to keep up with. Sometimes you forget. But yeah, don't be annoying about it. But yeah. Anyways, thanks for watching. Bye.